Hello guys, it's Unders. So today we're going to go through the first Syntronik set of patches that I've decided to load, and we're looking at the J8. Now the J8 is based on the Juno 8 and it's also incorporating sounds of the Juno 4 and the Juno 6. So to load it, we simply can go into our synth selection here. If we select the J8, it will filter out just patches for the J8 here. So it's going to be all these glorious guys here. So if we have a quick listen. And that's just the Big Room Screamers patch there. Now to actually have a look at what's going on with it, we can click on it here and it gives us this as our interface. So on the J8 or the Juno 8 originally, you'd have all these filter types and LFO things as patches across the bottom. But in this case, they are organized into relatively obvious sections. So you've got our oscillator tunes. Now it's two oscillators for effectively each sound here, which is what gives us that really cool phasing and wobbling around. We've got a pretty deep filter section to go over. The filter envelope, relatively normal, so you've got your general ADSR, but you've actually got H in here as well, which is a hold. Then controllers, so vibrato rate, bend amount, poly or mono, relatively standard at the portamento slider. Then obviously an LFO with a couple of shapes, sine, triangle, square, saw, and noise, but it's quite a digital noise, and then the rate, pan, pitch and filter for that. And then your amplitude envelope as well with the standard ADSR, and again with this H, which is a hold setting, and all of these are fully automatable in the patches as well, which is really nice. One thing you might notice, I'm running this inside NKS. I wanted to check the NKS stability of Syntronik because that is how I tend to load and organize most of my plugins. So I've already created a custom patch for it here. I can just browse straight to and load it up, and I'll probably create one for each of the individual instruments as well, so it opens up a set of patches for those, so I can just browse through those. So it's nice to know that's working nice and stably already as well. So if we start over here on the left with the oscillator, relatively simple. No, we've got nothing here. If we bring you back up. So what's effectively going on here is the tuning between the oscillators here. So the detune between the two, and then the tune here is pitching it up and down. So in the middle is going to be our standard octave amount. It's going to be relatively around here somewhere. Notice you can move it by minute amounts. We have this just slightly detuned, it's quite nice. Let's get oscillator 2 on. There we go. Cool, so obviously oscillator 2 needs to be switched on, which is why we weren't getting the detune working there correctly. I missed that switch. Now if we have a look in the filter section, you can see we've got a whole different set of filter types. Rather than going through and naming and explaining each one, these are some different filter types. For the most part, you'll know like the M type, R types and C types. Things like the phaser and form are a little bit different that you'd have to look up. Mode wise, we've got obviously low pass, band pass, high pass and notch, and then the slopes of 6 decibel, 12 decibel, 18 decibel and 24 decibels per octave. What is quite nice on these is the drive. Let's change the sound dramatically and give us a whole new variation there. I think what we can do is probably assign you as well. quite nice to say the least. Nice easy resound made there. Cool, so those are the basic settings that you're going to have a play around with to really get the overall sound you want. And then behavior wise, we've obviously got the bend amounts and the vibrato amounts, as well as having it in poly or mono. So this sound might be quite nice in mono. The legato slide's nice for the sound. Sweet. Now I think we're just going to have a listen through some of the other patches here and see what they are sounding like as well. Something important to note, the patches automatically load up the different effects needed for that patch. So all the options you have in here are also completely dependent. We could turn all of these off, for example, on the sound we just heard. That's as dry as anything. However, if we then introduce all these back in, we've got a whole host of effects, and all of these can obviously be adjusted in any way you so choose, which is also really nice. Be really easy to take a preset and make it your own very quickly. Very much the Stranger Things sound going on there. Very cool. So guys, that is a super brief introduction and overlook of the J8, the Juno 8, looking at the 4 and 6 sort of emulations as well for similar sounds. Really easy to set up and play around and use, loads of usable presets, and super easily to reconfigure and make the sound your own using the effects channels as well. And if there's anything else you would like to see in terms of the Syntronik synths as we're going over them and explaining roughly what they're used for, the sort of sounds you can get out of them, please just let me know in the comments below. If the video was helpful for you, please bash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video.